Peace and abundance, everybody. Welcome to SiStar Talk. This is season 2. We have already completed an entire season of these.
Yay!
We on season 2. Give thanks. So we're gonna be kicking off this season with just basically catching up. It's been a few cycles since we've been on here. Just basically journeying through life, maintaining balance and all of that good stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute here. But first and foremost, just want to give gratitude for being able to join you all for a second season. This started off as something we did on a whim, and we're already into season 2. I was looking at our stats on YouTube, and they are amazing. Actually, I was sending some of my work over to a potential client that I'm going to work with, and this was the highest viewed show. So I was excited about that. So yeah, what's up? God is key.
What it do? What it do? Peace, 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 everybody. Um, I'm just glad we back. We back to earn. I'm glad. Like this my happy space. This my happy space. It is.
Likewise, I love joining everybody on Sister Talk and chatting with the different people that I interact with on Facebook and being inspired, by each other. It's really a inspirational place. So I give thanks that we're able to, join forces again and get back on here. I did take some time out for myself. It's been a lot going on. We had a lot to happen, man. We have changed seasons. It's now springtime. We didn't change. It's daylight saving time that went into effect. I had a birthday. I wrapped up that project that we was talking. So much has been going on. So I really have. I'm real big on self care and pouring into my cup first because I know the value of it. So I really been at home, really focusing on home, where I know like the love is real and pouring into myself. Social media sometimes like you get a lot of people that it's social media. Let's not even go down that rabbit hole. So I took a break from a few things. I was intermittent. People say like you intermittent fasting from social media. Well, my a lot of my businesses are social media based, so I can't just say fuck this shit and and like throw it out the window. I have to maintain some type of interaction. However, I really limited my usage with social media. I also took the time to just be still, like sit in silence, hear myself, feel myself, see what my thoughts were at the moment. Check on me. Like I had to do a checkup. I went through a lot of changes with those projects, a lot of rebirthing parts of myself that were dormant, giving birth to parts of myself that I didn't know existed. So I had to take some time and catch my breath. And I did that. And I'm back. I'm refreshed. Might not sound like because I just got up because baby, we had a night. We had a night last night. Me and these children and my husband. Yeah. A good time, but we stayed up later than I usually do, so I'm a little sleepy. But Kita, what you been up to?
Um, some of the same. I've been spending a lot of time with myself lately. Um, been doing a lot of reading, getting just really just in the moment, and I've been loving it because this like I haven't just really had time like this to myself for me to just to be still and uh think about things and like where my life is going and but I've been loving it all. I've been loving it all. I've been by me doing it, spending time with myself, some tears been shedding and all that, but I give thanks for it all. I give thanks for it all because it been a sense of relief. It's been a sense of relief and it's just like I'm here and I'm just letting it flow. I'm just letting it flow. But I like this time to myself though. I love it.
Yeah. Um, Not to even get off topic because we're gonna talk about like I mentioned earlier, like giving birth to different parts of ourselves and rebirthing ourselves, and those are those layers that I like to refer to. Stuff we picked up along the way, maybe a bad relationship, maybe something that happened in your childhood, and we have to peel off those layers to really get to the heart of who we are, because those layers are trying to tell us who we are rather than us really knowing the source of who am I, what have I do. I think about like prime example when I was younger, third grade, my teacher, Miss Hughes, remember this like it was yesterday. She was like, "What do y'all want to be when you grow up?" A common question you ask kids. And I was like, "An oceanographer. I'm gonna go in the ocean and take pictures." And I knew I knew it. That's what I didn't live by an ocean. I just knew, right? And lo and behold, 30 something odd years later, I'm a nurse, I'm a doula. Completely different. So life has a way of changing us. And if we don't know what's authentically us or what's trauma, talking, speaking, presenting itself, then we'll get a little derailed. So it was just time for me to just really reflect and pull out some layers. And you stated like tears were shed. That's not a bad thing. People always associate tears with sadness, but that's also a cleansing. That's getting rid of and acknowledging emotions and allowing yourself to purge. So somebody who like shun you for crying or talk about you or tease you for crying. Like I remember I used to be teased all the time when I was young. You're so tender
Oh,
hearted to cry,
so,
baby.
oh, I remember people are like, "You a cry baby. That's all you do is cry." You,
I was
yeah.
emotional, baby. I was emotional like Carl Thomas. You hear me? I was letting them emotions flow. And I'm grateful that I'm able to do that because it allowed me to really be able to show my emotions. I know people who are afraid to cry. I know people who think they are too tough to cry. You know, I think some people think that crying is a weakness. It's actually a strength. You're being vulnerable. You're allowing yourself to flow. It's not a weakness. It's actually the opposite. When you like suppressing your emotions, it's because you're afraid. At the end of the day, you're just afraid. When you're not being true to yourself, you're just afraid. So anyway, not gonna get down that rabbit hole. Y'all heard that note? Do 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 do. I was on
Sing
key.
it, baby.
Da da da
Oh, now
da
hit the high note real
da da
quick.
da da. Keto, don't send me out today, baby. Oh girl, I didn't know, and I lost a viewer. Baby, come back. No, seriously. Um, not a singer, but I love to sing, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. We get in this thing, and we're gonna talk about birthing stories. So on the topic of traumas and shedding layers, and what happened? Girl, my computer just did something. The girl, my computer going crazy. There we go. It went crazy for a minute. On the topic of shedding layers and rebirths and all of that, talk about our birthing stories. I think that plays a huge part in the things that we carry because a lot of the way that we birth ends up becoming traumas or either victories or whatever that experience is. I feel like it makes a big impact on how you journey. And it also makes a big impact on the little ones that we birth into this realm. So I know that we were talking at one point about birthing stories on one of these podcasts, and it went crazy. So we promised that we would double back to it and just kind of discuss like our birthing stories, share some of our stories, some things that we went through, how we got through those things, and just flow like we always do. So. Me personally, I'll be brief. Probably everybody and their granddaddy, especially if you've been here for a while, have heard about my birthing stories because it is my life's journey. It's my purpose. It's been my purpose. My work has been my work, right? So I was a teen mom, had a baby at 15, had another baby at 17. So I had two babies in high school. Um, didn't really know the repercussions of that until I got older because I got a lot of help. And then I went on to have two more children before I was 23. So I had four children by the age I was up by the age of 23. Um, all of those were hospital births, two teen pregnancies, and then baby number 5 is little AJ. And I had moved from Memphis to Florida. Wanted to have, and I became a nurse in between that time. So I learned, like, I was in the labor and delivery. I learned a lot about childbirth. I learned a lot about things that I thought I knew that I didn't know. And I became fearful. And I was like, with baby number 5, I ain't giving birth in no hospital. I ain't doing it. Because I saw a lot of women lose their lives. I saw a lot of women come close to losing their lives. I saw a lot of people not going home with their children. And I was like, I don't want to become her. And these were people, it wasn't it was like, it wasn't a money issue. It was just things falling through the cracks for a lot of different reasons. And I was like, it's a gamble going in there, and I'm not going to do it, especially where I was. I was in Miami. So I went to a birthing center. I met a team of professionals who really changed my life. Debbie Marin with the Hollywood Birthing Center, and she, on my very first visit, told me, "Girl, your blood pressure is high." I backtracking a little bit with baby number 4. I almost died in childbirth because my blood pressure got so high. It's called preeclampsia, if you never heard of it. And I went to a doctor's appointment. They took my blood pressure, and I remember the nurse assistant saying, "Shit." And I was like, am I? At the time, I was in nursing school, and she was like, "No, you're not. We need you to go to the ER right now. Don't go home and pack a bag. Don't go do all that stuff. We just need you to go to the ER because your blood pressure is extremely high. You're at risk of, having a seizure or something happening to you, baby." Scared as I was, I went to the ER, and they admitted me and observed me, and my kidneys were starting to fail. So instead of having my kidneys shut down because my blood pressure was so high, they put me into labor. It was very traumatic. I felt like crap. Peace, I cannot see who you are. Please leave your name so I can shout you out appropriately. But I'm so happy that you are here joining us. Happy Sunday. Yes. So, got to the ER. They put me in labor. It was very traumatic. I ended up giving birth. After birth, I was not able to talk to anybody. I was on precautions because I was at risk of having a seizure. They cut off all of my lights. I could not hold my baby. They cut off the TV, the phone, because any little thing could have sent my nervous system into, and then I would have had a seizure and I could have potentially died. So, long story short, my child ended up being just fine. I ended up being just fine. But with baby number 5, I just did not want to go through that again. So with that first appointment, my blood pressure was already high. I was in nursing school again, living a high, well, actually I just graduated. I was getting ready to take my boards, and high stress lifestyle. And it's Shireen. Hi, my love. Hi, 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 hi. But to be in your neck of the woods in June, I hope to see you at the retreat. Yeah. Anywho, I didn't want that to happen, so they educated me. She said you can either take these medications and get your blood pressure down, because I had thyroid issue, blood pressure issue, had issue with anemia. But she taught me how to heal myself with food, with lifestyle changes, with diet, exercise, things like that, without using medicine, because she said I had a choice. It was the first time ever I felt like a medical provider had given me a choice. So I already felt empowered. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm doing this shit. I'm on a birth at home. Um, so we ended up successfully birthing at home, but that is when I met my doula, Ty. She volunteered to be my doula because her child was turning 8. And it was a rite of passage in her family for when they turned 8 to attend their first birth. And time was running out for this baby girl. She was getting ready for her. Actually, she was getting ready to turn 9, not 8. She was getting ready to turn 9, and she wanted her to see her first birth while she was 8. And I was like, well, I don't have any family here in Florida. I would love for y'all to attend, because she was my prenatal massage therapist as well. So we had gained a report, and I was like, sure, you can come to my birth. And I was excited for her to come. I don't know if I would have gotten through that experience as seamlessly as I did if it wasn't for Ty. And like, she coached me through the tough times. She taught me how to breathe when I was at my breaking point, like, oh, this hurt. She got me back in line. Like, she really reminded me of the why, just with the simple word, with touch. She was so amazing. And when I gave birth in that manner, I was able to catch my son. I went from high risk to home birth. And I gave birth, and I gave birth at the facility, but it's like a house. It's like a little apartment they put you in, because my apartment was way too small in Miami. So we, did the thing, and it was really, really beautiful. And then I became a doula because I was so inspired by her work and what she did for me. I became an advocate. Later on, became a doula instructor, and got pregnant with baby number 6, which is Mrs. Fruit Baby, Mrs. Fruit OG. She's the original goddess. Gangster some days, depending on where the moon and the sun is, But seriously, I gave birth to Fruit at home. I gave birth to her unassisted, meaning that I did not have a doctor present. I did not have a midwife present. It was my husband, my intuition, my angels, and my daughter. and they were there with me and they helped me give birth to Fruit at home in my bathtub. And I realized like how much trauma and shit I went through in the hospital
Can
as
I ask
opposed.
you something right quick?
Sure, sure.
I'm trying to cut you out, but when you said that you gave birth to Miss Fruit without, basically your husband and you, like what advice would you give a mother that maybe she's not comfortable like with a doula? Like what advice would you give her like to help her through her journey? Like if she just wanted to do it with just her and her partner.
Got it. Okay. So let me just tell the different roles of the doula and the midwife, because I feel like even if you don't have a midwife, you probably need a doula present. My husband was my doula. Thank goodness. And let me start back with let me just midwife and a doula. Let me take one thing at a time. I get excited about birth, y'all. I get real excited about it. But a doula is a person who's non-medical, meaning that they don't come in with these tools that are going to see how far you dilate, or they're not going to be checking your cervix most of the time. I hope not. Like blood pressures, maybe if they have that background, but a typical doula comes in with her head, heart, and hands, meaning that she's coming in to support you emotionally. She's coming in to make sure that you have your needs met emotionally, making sure that you have informed consent. You know what the pros and the cons are for the decisions that you're making. You know what your choices are. You feel supported. She's holding space for you, really and truly. So she's there to do non-medical support, which is, I feel like, the what everybody deserves. But everybody, like you said, everybody don't want no doula. On the flip side of it, you got the midwife. The midwife is basically, she takes the place of the doctor when a
Oh,
woman is giving birth. So she um is medical personnel. She makes sure that, she's checking cervixes like after you give birth. Most midwives, the ones that I've worked with, they don't usually do like the cervical checks. And we'll talk about that later on. But they are basically making sure that you and baby are safe medically while you're there. So any advice I would give to someone who was looking to home birth or maybe be on the fence about home birthing is to, one, don't take it lightly. When I decided, I was in Colorado. I had moved from the East Coast to Colorado for work, and then I got pregnant with Miss Fruit. I did not, I could not find a midwife that I felt was in alignment with my birth and all of this good stuff in a short amount of time, because I didn't go and find a midwife. I didn't start to try and find a midwife until my second trimester, and I felt like it was rushed. And I was like, I don't want to rush somebody to be, this is important to me. So I didn't really connect with a midwife. So what I did was I researched, I educated myself. At the time, I was a mother of five, growing number six, and I was also a nurse. So I knew a lot already, but I had never given birth by myself, not necessarily by myself, but outside of the hospital without a midwife or medical professional there. So I had to become that medical professional for me. I learned during the time between baby number five and baby number six myself. So I knew what it felt like when my iron was low. I knew I had to study myself. So I
that
then,
makes perfect sense.
I'm my own best advocate. I know when something is going well. I know when I'm not feeling my best. I know me. So
Okay.
to look for that outside of me, I didn't necessarily need that. Right. I knew my body. I say all that to say, I researched. I became informed about like what to expect, what to look for. Even though I had attended all of these births as a nurse, as a doula, I had never attended a birth as a mother having a free birth. So I would recommend you educating yourself and preparing your household. We turned into doula boot camp. Everybody was learning everything. Ex Kira. Kira was there, baby. We was learning everything. I told them what to expect. If this happened, this is what you do. Because I'm going to be giving birth. I won't be able to. Luckily, I still had enough strength, but all of the time you won't have enough strength to call out shots and be on your game and tell people what to do. So they need to know.
That's so amazing though. That how everybody came together and was on board though.
I'm,
That's amazing.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Actually,
Yeah.
she came down just for Sweet Fruit, like to assist me um to give birth. She came down. And I was like, I'm so thankful for you. And we blogged it. I'm gonna have to, put it on my YouTube channel to where we used to walk together. We did exercises together. That was like my doula. She was my doula. She was my support. We didn't have a whole lot of feminine energy in the house before she came from Memphis to Colorado. And then after Sweet Fruit was born, she went back to Memphis. But she came to support me, and she did that. We even had a blessing way where she and I, she helped to welcome Sweet Fruit before she actually crossed the veil of being born. It was beautiful, but it was a lot of work and a lot of preparation. So don't take it lightly. Although we know our bodies, sometimes birth can be unexpected. So you need to know what to expect if these things can occur, because you got a little bit of window to actually make an intervention before like things go left. So you want to make sure not to be fearful of anything, because typically birth goes right, especially if you're at home because you're comfortable. Baby's familiar with the environment, you're familiar with the environment. So I think that like preparing, if you're not going to have a midwife, then you need to become your midwife.
Mm-hmm.
Track your health, take care of yourself, drink your herbs, do your exercises, make things easier for you. I walked every day that I could. Some days I just didn't have the strength, and I still did exercise. I did prenatal yoga, all of those things, because I knew I wasn't going to be around no pain medicine. I knew that, I had to do this thing with what I had within me and my support system. So I wanted to give them the best opportunity to be successful. I wanted to give myself the best opportunity to be successful. So I didn't take it lightly. I was on my shit. So I would just recommend you be on it. Research, read. Don't buy into the fear tactics. People have been birthing outside of the hospital forever. In fact, the numbers of birthing outside of the hospital are more favorable than the numbers of birthing in the hospital. So I would recommend that for you. Highly recommend it for you. But again, like you said, Keita, everybody ain't there. For me, I even had, with all the experience that I had, it gave me anxiety, because I was like, what if this? Like that fear started to kick in, but I had to say, nah. I had to rise above that, because I've seen both sides, and I knew what my chances were in the hospital. So that was huge. So that's my little story in a nutshell. Not really a nutshell, about 15 minutes, but that's how I came to be. And through
That's amazing. That's amazing.
it was a journey. It still is a journey from baby number 1 to baby number 6. It's like I regained my power, because baby number 1, I remember giving birth and being treated okay, but still being questioned as to why was I 15 and having a child, before asking how I was doing as a
Good.
pregnant
Ooh.
mom, asking who's gonna pay for diapers. I'm like, I'm at a prenatal appointment to learn about my child.
And you asking me about who gonna pay for diapers and
Get
what
on
I'm
about
like,
it.
yeah.
But I was a child, and I just answered them because I felt like that was my village, and I was really just being judged. And
Mm-hmm.
that took a toll on my self-esteem. Baby number 2, I was at the med. If you know about the med, you know about the med. If you're dying, go to the med. If you got like a bullet in your ass, or
Okay.
you lost an arm, go to the med. But if you're
Go
looking
get
to
that.
get healthy and maintain, like you're looking for a provide, don't go there. Okay, they good at trauma, and they caused me some trauma because I was in labor, and I remember crying because I was on my back. I was 16 and a half, almost 7. Yeah, I was 17. And crying because I was giving birth and it didn't feel good. And they had gave me an Ambien. I went to the emergency room, thought I was in labor. I was, but it was early labor. Had a big baby and it was uncomfortable. So I went in thinking I was in labor. They said, no, it's too early. Go back home. Let me give you something because you're crying too much. They gave me Ambien, a fucking narcotic. They gave me Ambien and they knocked me out for about, I remember not even making it out. Like we didn't drive out the parking garage before I was knocked out. And I slept for like 7, 8 hours. When I woke up, it was go time. I was like really, really in labor. And when I got there, I was crying. Oh, it hurts. It hurts because I was on my back and they were doing cervical checks. And I remember the nurse looking at me and said, you need to shut up because you were not crying like that when you was making that baby. And I'm like, how do you know? You
Oh
were not.
my God. But for her to say something like that though.
Yeah, man. She told me that. Oh, girl told me that.
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
Oh,
And then after I gave birth, she came back in the room and she was drawing up some medicine. And she was gonna put it in my IV with pain medicine. And she was like, I'm not giving you nothing, all that damn hollering you was doing. I was like, ooh, you talking like you today. Yeah. And then when I
so
went to when after I gave birth, which wasn't a bad thing now that I think about it, but it was just the way it was done. The lady was like, "I'm not gonna clean you up in this bed. You're gonna have to get up and walk to the bathroom." And I was like, "Okay, thank you for asking me if I could." And I got up, and it was so much blood like trailed from the bed to the bathroom because I just gave birth. And she was like, "Yeah, you gonna have to get up and walk. I'm not gonna do this for you." And she was like, "How old are you again?" And she was questioning me. I just never forget like how it was not so much compassion given.
that was a terrible experience because it's like more than you're helping me, you just basically trying to fault me from having a baby at a young age. You just constantly throwing it in my like that's terrible.
They got distracted. They got distracted. Like for real, they got distracted by how old I was, and their job was to make me safe, to make sure that my life was not in jeopardy. And they got distracted. And that's why I feel like people need doulas because had I had somebody present that could have advocated for me, my mom was there, mama was there, but she was there in and out. Like she had, she probably wasn't even part of that conversation because there was so much going on at the time. She probably wasn't even back there with me, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember like reflecting on it as being a birth worker now and thinking, had a doula been there, like they could have intervened and been like, "Hey, we want to stick to making sure she's good. Like, how is this relevant to her care?" But me being a scared teenager, I just succumbed to the bullshit, and it left scars. It really did. Like even those words, even being treated the way that I did, even feeling like I didn't matter because of the way that I endured my labor. I felt like I wasn't victorious. I didn't feel like I did a good job. And it after like having those experiences, baby number 4, I would have never known. I would have never thought that I was gonna have any more children because the experiences were so bad. And then I almost died with baby number 4. I was like, nah, I don't want to go down that road again. And they kept telling me, baby number 4, they said your blood pressure was high. Get this, girl. They said your blood pressure was high because you might have had you got a different baby daddy.
You serious, girl? But I done heard some doctors say that too. I done heard that.
It's some truth to it, but it's not necessarily because it's a different baby daddy. It's the quality of the man's sperm.
Mm. Wow, I did not know that.
But they they only skimmed the surface and just said that it was because I had a different baby daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
not knowing, I was like, dang, you switched baby dad and you died?
I mean, that's terrible.
But this bias. It's bias. It's like black women are dying at a rate that is substantially disproportionate to any other race. And it's
So
because of those types of biases. Like
do
they
that.
distracted by what you look like, by you coming in here with whatever idea of you they've made in their head, and they're focused on that instead of, is this woman actually in labor? Is her life in jeopardy? Most people end up falling through the cracks because they're not valued, and they're not valued because of what they look like.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. So during those pregnancies, did you get an epidural or you just had them like?
Let's talk about this bullshit, girl. So epidural, yes, with 2 of the 4, and that epidural mess. Like I work. That's why I do yoga to this day because it left. Uh, I don't know what it did, but it wasn't a good thing. Like a lot of when I first started yoga, like a third of that class was in there because they had epidurals. And it's, if you don't know what an epidural is, they're putting a needle, basically a catheter, like an IV, in your spine, and it infuses medication. What that medication is buvocaine, and also other. Somebody told me they put in fentanyl in the IVs now. It was buvocaine, like a numbing agent. And I think it was Stadol at one point. like it was some narcotics basically, but all of those are derivatives of cocaine. Canes, they're canes. I say this all the time. You probably can repeat it with me as I say it. But if you watch one of them old gangster movies, when people like dip their finger in the cocaine and put it on their teeth,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're checking to see if it's numb. That's because
Mm-hmm.
cocaine is a numbing agent. When you go to the dentist and they use Novocaine, they use it to numb. So that's what they're doing. They're putting a numbing agent in your spine, and it is it's in the cocaine family. It's cocaine, legal cocaine, and it does a number of things. But the overall thing of what it does is it separates mom from baby because one, you can't feel your contractions.
You can't
So
feel your, and then they tell you to push or lift your legs up, and you be, I'm, cause experience. They would tell me, well, lift your legs, and I'm like, I'm lifting my legs. They're like, no, ma'am, your legs are still on the bed. Like, I mean,
you act like you didn't just give me. So you had. I'm saying this for. I know your birthing story, but I'm saying this for everybody that's viewing. So you had an epidural as well.
I had my first pregnancy, I had an epidural. The second pregnancy, I had a spinal tap. And the spinal tap, it literally like they was breaking my back. It was breaking my back. It like and then they couldn't, like I didn't had these people that stuck me so many times because they couldn't find the right spot, so they say. So I'm easing to try to look behind me. And I went into panic because I seen nothing but all the sheets and the covers behind me just full of blood. I went into panic. And then when I was like, I said, what's going on? And don't you know, one of the nurses, girl, like hold my head. You know, like holding, like, stay, keep it forward, keep it forward. I'm like, oh my God. But it was just like, it would hurt. So it was just so much pressure on my spine. Like these people were literally breaking my back.
Oh,
It was so
I
much.
and they couldn't even. And then the med, you were at the med, right?
To me, with,
Right when
with
the
both
contraction
pregnancies, with
they
both.
they usually see people who are high risk too, like
Um,
because a high risk they have like a big space where they have like NICU and all of this good stuff, like cutting edge supposedly, and they're known for using students. They're
and
known for using students. And I think there's like a lot of what goes on. And I'm not saying that they don't like it's a teaching hospital. You gotta learn to know what they do. But a lot of the times they don't even ask your consent. And they'll
mhm.
include people in your birth that you and that's what I'm saying. Everybody need a doula, especially
With
if you're
that
going
spinal tap, with that spinal tap, I know it took it. It was about 3 tries before they actually got it, and it was like, oh my,
because they're
goodness,
going by feel. They can't actually see your spine. I've seen them done. I've never seen my own because they make you turn around and then they kick your person out so that your person can't see either.
yeah, yeah.
I used to think like that. I don't know why they did it, but then if you seen like them long needles, it could cause a lot of anxiety because they use a lot of different utensils. That if you know that was going into your spine, you probably be like, hell no, we won't go. But a lot of women be in so much pain because they're on their back, because they've been induced with something that's synthetic, meaning that they forced themselves into labor. You weren't ready to go.
That was both of my pregnancies. They happened with me.
You were induced for both.
Hmm. I
Induced.
was with both because the first pregnancy, she Kylie, she's 12 now. But the first pregnancy, when I went for a regular routine checkup, like they were just checking on baby, and they was like, "You haven't been feeling no contraction." I'm like, "This is my first pregnancy. I don't know contraction what. I don't know. I don't know." So they were like, "You haven't been feeling no contraction." I'm like, "No," and they was like, "You literally have no water around baby. How does that happen though?"
Dehydration.
Oh,
It is
so
an
they were like,
easy.
"You literally have no water around baby. We got to send you on the into labor or whatever." So they put me in labor, and I was in labor with this baby, 27 hours.
Mm, mm, mm.
27 hours. They
Because you
did,
weren't ready. You just dehydrated.
yeah, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and I'm going into panic because it's my first time having a baby. And I'm like, oh, is my baby gonna be okay? Like, so like I'm already in panic mode thinking that something is wrong with my baby. Y'all put me in labor and they say that I stopped dilating at 5 centimeters. I wouldn't go no more. They use I don't know what it's called, this balloon object. They said it's gonna blow up like a balloon in you and they're gonna help. They still didn't help. Um, and then you want us to start the process over? Like y'all taking me through so much. this is what they gave me the option. Let's start the process over, or you just have a C-section. Me, this being the first time, I'm scared and all this. So I'm just like, no, I can't go through this again because it's already 27 hours. Y'all, I'm tired. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, just do the C-section. Not knowing what I was myself into. So they did the C-section, and the stuff that came behind it, you know what came behind it.
No,
I
what
ended
I
up
did.
getting, I
Tell us,
end,
enlighten us again.
I ended up getting MRSA. I ended up getting MRSA to the point where, okay, well, let me rewind. So I had this C-section, come home with baby and all this. I'm just hurting so bad, but I still got to move around. I got to, do what I do. So when and it's like as days go past, I remember the day I went to the restroom and when, cause like I'm bandaged up. And when I ready to use the restroom, and I'm not telling no story, like nothing but like pus and water type stuff and just start pouring down my legs. Almost as if I was peeing on myself. But this was coming out of my stomach where they cut me at. And I called mama into the bathroom. I'm like, Mama, this ain't supposed to be happening. Like it was literally like hitting the floor like a balloon busted. It was like that much water, but it was, and I was like, she was like, no, it ain't supposed to be happening. So I went to the emergency room and they tell me, oh, you came just in time. You came just in time before it like really infected your blood and all. I was like, wow. So in a result of that, they had to reopen my wound. They say they couldn't like stitch it back up because they had to let it like what is like air hit it or
They have to let it heal from the, they can't close anything that has an active infection. They can't close it up. They just closing that infection in there. So they
yeah,
have to let.
and they was telling me they were like your tissue is greenish looking and yellowish. I that took me to a state of depression. It took me to a state of depression because I had to stay in the hospital for I know at least almost probably about 6 weeks until you came because they were like I can't release you because my medical insurance, which was with the Department of Human Service, my medical insurance with them, which is there's not no good insurance or whatever, and they was like your medical insurance will not cover a home nurse. So either you're gonna have to stay in her, and I was missing my baby at that point because I haven't even spent time with her because I'm in the hospital. So they was like your medical insurance won't cover. So either you stay in this hospital or we got to get somebody here that's certified or could do this for you at home. And that's when I called you and you came through for me. But after that point, I was in wound care a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to wound care a whole year. And I was in depression to the point where when you used to help me pack my wounds and stuff and used to like had a mirror like I think you should look at it, see, and I was like, no, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I was just so scared and I was in depression. I was in depression over there. I was.
I imagine because one thing people got to realize when giving birth is the things like the epidural, the C sections. You have to recover from those types of things. I just told you they making you high
Mhm.
when they doing the epidural. It's not funny. They are giving you medications that are narcotics that if you came into the emergency room or the labor and delivery ward with this stuff in your system, you're gonna go to jail. But they give it to you is legal. So you got to recover from that. That recovery period means time away from you and your baby. So while that epidural, you like this is so much pain, and trust me, I've been there. Think about like the recovery period after that. You may be so sleepy to where you can't safely hold your baby. Your baby may have issues like a decreased heart rate because your baby getting the same narcotics they giving you.
And I
It's
had
going.
that experience with my second pregnancy.
What happened?
Well, my second pregnancy, which was my son, he's 8 now, Dwayne. And I got pregnant with him, and I ended up getting well with Chicago. I had the preeclampsia, like what you said. With him, it wasn't the preeclampsia. It was the I don't know what to call what the pregnancy. I mean, like when you get diabetes during pregnancy,
That's
it's
gestational diabetes.
that's what it is. I had gestational diabetes with him, and by me having that C-section with Chicago, they automatically scheduled me a C-section with him. And I was asking them. I remember asking them, I'm like, so I can't have a normal. I ain't gonna say a normal, but I can't have birth like from below. And they're just like, no, we just feel it's too much of a risk since you couldn't do it the first time. And
And
I'm
they
like,
give you a chance to do it, and they put you in labor.
exactly. So I'm like, wow. So
It's like it's no fault.
yes,
Like you're not my service is incompetent. No.
yeah. And I'm like, y'all not giving no option. Y'all just finna tell me what I'm finna do. So
Mhm.
so basically, I had a they scheduled me a C-section with him, but by me taking this medicine, it was the pill form. I ain't had to take the the insulin. It was the pill form. When I did this pill form,
It was
uh,
glyburide. I'll never forget.
and when I did it, cause when I started it, I used to take it, but it used to have my body like and then when I used to tell them, they were like, oh, okay, it's making your blood sugar go too low now, so just do half of the pill. I did half of the pill, and I used to have the same effect, like dizziness, headaches, and all that. But I'm just going with it because I didn't have the knowledge of it. You see what I'm saying? I'm just going with it because I'm thinking, okay, these doctors they know what they're saying,
Right.
so I'm just going with it. And that's the pregnancy I had the spinal tap with, what I just mentioned. And my baby, he had a side effect from it. His when he was born, he had to stay in the hospital 2 weeks because they say they had to check, keep running tests on him, make sure he didn't have diabetes. They when he was born, one of his eyes was roaming. That he had to go to a specialist. He had to go to a eye specialist for 6 months to get his eye to try to focus. And I give thanks that it did what it had to do.
Stuff. Yeah.
And they was telling me, well, it's the cause of the medicine that did the side effects of the medicine. And
Did anybody tell you about that was a potential side effect before they gave you the
not at
medicine?
all, not at all. They didn't tell me no side effects from this medicine. They just told me, look, this is what you need to take. They didn't tell me no side effects from the medicine, not at all.
And that's
And,
that's why it's important. That's why I feel like we need doulas because stuff like
uh-huh.
that, you don't think to ask those types of questions. You just want a solution.
And then I'm and that caused me to make a decision that I hate that I did, which was I was so like consider well I consider them like, well, I had bad experiences through these pregnancies. I just don't want to go through this again. And what did I do? I got my tubes tied.
Hmm.
But they say that my tissue was so like damaged and tough that they could not tie them the proper way. So they say they put clamps on them.
So it's not truly a tube tie.
They say it's clamps. They said that my tissue they were so I guess from the yeah. So they said they could not do it the right way. That they had to put clamps on them.
So why do it? I got questions, but I probably won't get the answer to that.
Exactly.
But that's crazy because of those birthing experiences. You weren't given informed consent. That's not if informed consent is if I'm giving you a medication, you know the pros and the cons of this medication. You know the benefits and the risks. That way
Mm-hmm.
therefore you make a calculated decision.
Mm-hmm.
They made decisions for you.
Made
They
it for
made
you.
it your fault that you didn't give birth vaginally when they put you in labor, did not properly educate you. When it comes to low fluids, that's the easiest thing to fix ever. It's dehydration. Hydrate yourself. Go take a bath.
So much panic, like they had me so much panic, like which,
Because those fluids are important, but it's an easy fix.
and they just went the route that they wanted to go.
Yeah.
And,
What's,
and and I didn't have the knowledge of all this and all that. I was just like,
and I didn't either at the time. I wish I did.
and by me getting those tubes tied, it did have some side effects on me. Like my menstrual started getting heavier. I started having more pains, and then I know Mama used to always tell me, "Don't get your tube tied, work on them nerves." And it's like I have like my patience, like
Really?
yeah, it's like and she was right. It's like your patience just go out the window. Your patience, it's like everything is just like gets to you. And it wasn't like that. It was not like that until I had that procedure done. And I used to think, when my mom just saying, it's just mama. Mom getting older. But that is so true. That is so true.
And I imagine so, because you ovulate, and with your tubes tied, it like you go through the menstrual cycle, the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, and those 4 phases aren't able to actually fully do what they need to do if you have something impeding the tubes. The tubes play a very intricate part in the menstrual cycle. So I imagine that a lot of hormones are, can become imbalanced, and that'll play on your nerves. That in itself will play on your nerves. So I can see, I can see.
Once the procedure was done, they're gonna tell me, well, if you ever want decide to have more babies, you can get the clamps removed for $8,000.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, all right.
Weird.
Yeah, but then like I was saying, like by me getting that procedure, like now, we talked about me with my iron issues, and that plays a part in it too because you helped me figure that out because I'm like I'm doing all this stuff to build my iron up, but it's like it's not doing nothing. So it's
Heavy,
just like this
the
is
heavy.
like I advise anyone like make your own decision what's works best for you, but think twice when you're that like talking about some tube tap. Don't. Mm.
People just the traumas of motherhood too. Single parents growing up in households that have poverty, have issues, whatever it is. Like motherhood in itself is challenging. Even if you have a partner, like if you don't, it's even more challenging. If you have issues like yours, what occurred in the postpartum period, which a lot of women are going through, what they like to call postpartum. Postpartum is the period after you have a baby. You're referring to postpartum depression. A lot of people just call it postpartum, but a lot of people go through that because they don't have the support when they go home. They hit roadblocks like you hit when you had to go back into the hospital. When man had to stay in the hospital after you went home. All of that plays a part because when you have a baby, your baby being close is healing you. You being close to your baby is nurturing and growing your baby. It's synergistic. You
I was
being
6 weeks
separated,
without my baby.
that's a long time.
6 weeks
But
without my baby.
in that first hour, like that first hour of life, it's absolutely vital that your baby is skin to skin with you and dad. If not dad, you, because your baby needs that knowing and safety and that security blanket to say it's okay to be here and thrive and I'm not in danger. They have to be in that state of mind. They have to feel that energy to be able to thrive. And if you've had a C-section, if baby's gone to the NICU, if you are in a hospital and not bonding with baby, all of that is impeded. So breastfeeding tends to go out the window because you need to be close to a baby for the body to
And,
know
and
that you
now
have
you
a
said
baby.
breastfeeding. You know, you said breastfeeding. I wanted to breastfeed with Chicago, my first baby, so bad, and they told me, "No, you can't do that because your the blood pressure medicine we got you." I was like, oh, so I just feel like I was really stripped from everything, like everything that I wanted to experience. I was stripped from it because I
That's
didn't have the proper knowledge. I didn't know, I didn't know.
and it's on purpose. So don't feel like you were isolated and not knowing. That's why, like I said, doulas are very important. They're very powerful people because look at what education could have prevented in so
Mm-hmm.
many cases. You know what I'm saying?
So
But don't look at it as vain. It's a learning experience, and thank God that they're healthy now. You're still healthy and with us, and everything was okay. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. So we can prevent making these choices that we know nothing about or having people make choices for us by knowing our rights. Our rights are violated when we don't know
mm-hmm.
them. We don't know. And me personally, I'm a doula and I support people mainly in home births. I'm very hesitant about taking hospital births because I know in that space, at any given moment, they can say, "Your plan, no, fuck your birthing plan. We're going to do what we want to do." And they will do it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
rates of postpartum depression with people who have hospital births are so high. I sit on a board and it's called the MMRC. I'm not going to get into like the specifics of the board that I sit on, but it's out of Colorado. And we review cases of people who have passed away due to things surrounding childbirth, meaning, well, in the postpartum period, either during childbirth, while they were pregnant, or um, like a year before the baby's a year old. So we review like, was this preventable? What happened here? What was the breakdown? And that's what we do every month. And most of those cases of people passing away, you would not even believe it, is suicide.
Wow. Like, but the state that I was in, like, I don't want to say I could see that happening, but
You spoke about how you felt depressed, like
yeah,
all of those.
I was very depressed that I didn't even want to look at my body.
Mhm.
I didn't even want to look at my body. I was just, oh, I that point in my life, I was just like, oh, like, is everything just ending for me? And like, I was just so, I was very depressed. And then for you to have to run to wound care every week, every week, and I had to do that a whole year, a
Yes,
whole
a
year.
whole lifestyle change, and then the process of giving birth, and then having to get to know you again, that you were doing the job of many people and being pulled in a lot of different ways. So it's no surprise at all to me. I remember like feeling depression when I was a teen mom, but didn't know what it was because I ain't even gonna pull the race card, but I'm gonna pull it. Being black in America can be stressful, period. It is. So we were used to high stress environments. We were used to making a way out of no way. So I just felt like it was just part of it. And now I know it that was not normal. It wasn't. And I'm so thankful that I had the resilience and you too to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and move forward because we never started medication. We never saw therapists. We
Yeah,
never got any help or support. We just had to get through. And that's when I was talking about when we first got on. That's why we need time to sit to ourselves because now that we can look back, we can lick our wounds. We can now heal from those wounds. We don't have to continue to go through life pretending like that shit didn't happen.
yeah,
That's called survival mode. Just picking yourself up and keep going. Got a baby, separated from your baby, got trying to heal from this C-section scar, trying to find yourself again, and you just made it. You just pressed through because
mm-hmm.
you had to.
Yeah.
But now, what do you do now that you're not in survival mode? Now that you're okay, what do you just pretend like none of that ever happened? Because those scars are still there, especially when it's pertaining to the wound space. The wound remembers all.
But then but I remember, like, cause I was staying with Mama during the time, and when I came home, and I was just like, and I used to tell this every day, I was like, Mama, I can't do it, I can't do it, and she was my support system. She was like, you have no choice, you got a
Oh,
baby,
you had
you
your
got a baby, you got to do it for. And Mama used to tell me that all the time, you got a baby, you got a baby, you got to do it for. You have no choice. Come on, we gonna do it. And I give thanks to my mama every day because like you and Mama, y'all, if it wasn't for y'all, I don't know what could have happened because y'all was my support system, and I was telling myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. Crying every day, I can't do this. It's just too much. It's too much. But Mama was there. Come on, you got to. You ain't got no choice. Come on, you got to. You got a baby, girl. You got a baby. She like and she used to help me as much as she could, but she had to work at the same time too. So, but ooh. And just by thinking about that, it kind of made me want to shed tears now because that was like a hard time. That was a
It
hard
is.
time.
That's very hard to get through. That's very hard to get through. And just, give gratitude to yourself and honor yourself for choosing to keep going because a lot of people got cheerleaders, but your cheerleaders can only support you as much as you support yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank God for Mama. I really do. She still supports us and cheer us on to this day. You chose to listen to that support and adhere to it and say, I can do this. Um,
Yeah.
but you got to give yourself time. Like even when you say you felt like things were taken from you, grieve that loss. My rights were taken. It's still a loss. Like grieve, like feel those emotions. All right, and how am I going to move forward? Don't stay there, but how am I going to move forward from this situation?
Because I had the feeling now, like now at this point in time, like I'd be like, I really hate that I got that my suicide. I wanted to experience a home birth. I want to feel what it's like. To, but you know, that's
I
why I
know
said like
you got clips, so you can get them removed, and then you can also. We spoke about this before.
I thought about that, but I don't want to go back in there for them cutting on me to remove them clips though.
Blame you.
I really don't want to go in there at all because first of all, y'all got these bright lights that be shining in people's face like they on like a science experiment or something like that. that right there put you in panic. You just looking around, all these blade like this flashing in your face. Oh,
Imagine how that little baby feel that been in the womb for 10 months and them
it's,
bright lights. Like they been in
yeah.
that's all they know is darkness.
So, and that's a question that I had to ask. Like, I mean, when you have like when your baby's born and you have it like in the hospital, and you be like, "How my baby just so fussy and all that?" Do you think that sometimes that could result to what went on, like your traumas that you went through?
They went through the same thing.
Because Chicago, woo wee, that baby used to keep me up all night. Just so she was just so fussy all the time, like never
And
gave
a
me a break.
lot of times it's them coming off of the drugs too.
I never
It's
thought of
withdrawal from you had a long labor. You got a lot of medication.
it. Mm-hmm.
So you ever see like babies when they're coming off of stuff, they cry, 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 cry. That's what it does. Like they go through withdrawal and they don't take into account that this baby just had a narcotic. And so that baby literally has to go through getting through that addiction that was introduced to them cold turkey.
And that makes sense because she was fussy. I say the first 3 to 4 months. And then after that, the baby just was sleeping through the night with no problem.
Yeah, it's probably and we had a close family member who just had a baby, and she had the same issue. The baby wasn't fussy, but her body went through so many reactions. She went through like head to toe itching, shaking, like a lot of reactions that people would have if they were coming off of drugs. And she was like, "What is going on with me?" And I was like, "I feel like your body is reacting to something." And then she started telling me her birthing story, and I was like, "Fuck," very traumatic. But she got through it. Like she had a whole panic attack because she had like you said, babies can feel that energy, and her baby turned around. Her baby was getting ready to be head first. Everything was going fine, and then they gave her medicine, and the baby was like having a reaction to the medicine, like what's going on here? Baby turned feet first. Baby turned around in labor, and the foot started coming out. Baby was getting ready to come. Baby, the
Mm-hmm.
foot started coming out, and then the nurse pushed the foot back up, and they ran her into the ER for an emergency C-section. And so they were cutting her before her medicine even kicked in to numb her. And she said when she saw them pulling out all of the utensils, she panicked. And when she panicked, instead of them comforting her, they strapped her down.
Mm-hmm. And,
They
and,
strapped her to
and
a
that's,
table.
that's that's basically what they did to me when they reopened my wound, my scar from a C-section. It was like we just give you this morphine, girl. They gave me morphine. When we finna give you a morphine, and I was feeling every bit of it, and I was like, y'all, it's hurting them. And guess what they told me? Just hold on to the poles of the bed. You know how the bed is. Just hold
Mm.
on to the poles of the bed if you can't take it. And I'm like, y'all reopening me with, with basically like I'm no numbing or nothing. Y'all just reopening. Y'all just telling me to hold on to the poles of the bed, and y'all telling me, oh, you doing good. You doing good.
No regard to um, your emotions, your feelings, just task
Y'all, I'm
oriented.
telling y'all, I'm in pain. I'm in pain. I'm feeling all this. We
And
just
this was
hold on
a
to the
scheduled
bed.
C-section. Like they told you, it wasn't an emergency. They told you had an option as a C-section to start over. So there was no reason for them not to give you the opportunity to at least not feel what they were doing.
But y'all was just doing so much to me that I just like, just give me the C-section. I just, at that point, I was just going through so much. I was just ready to get it over.
That's a bit much. That's a bit much. I'm going to pause here, y'all. I drank a lot of coconut water. I'm going to let y'all view. We need a 2 minute break. I'm going to let y'all view our wonderful banner that was made for us, and we're going to be back. So we definitely comment any questions y'all have. If y'all want to share y'all birthing experiences, we would love to hear them. But we're going to take a 2 to 3 minute pause, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Thank you so much for that brief intermission. I cannot focus if I have to use the restroom, and I drink a lot of fluids, which, yeah, I'm not going to apologize for being hydrated, but thank y'all for staying tuned and staying with us. I appreciate that. But yeah, we were talking about birthing stories, and if y'all got anything y'all want to share about any of y'all birthing experiences, I would love, love, love to hear about them. But all in all, a lot of mothers just aren't supported on their journeys. For me, I felt like I was shunned and talked about more than anything, because it was hot gossip. I was a teenager with two kids, um, teen mothers, single mothers, same sex partners, traditional partners in marriages. Everybody needs support during that time, because I feel like that's one of the greatest and most challenging roles to step into, is being new parents, and especially for the mother growing a baby. So much is going on within her. We don't want to be a source of adding any agony or stress to that mother. Let her do her thing. So that's why I decided to become an advocate for mothers, because so many times, like, you see a mama walking down the street with a big belly. Oh my God, you must be so tired. You must be, no, why would you put that on her? She's beautiful. Embrace, like teach her, like show her that she's loved, and change that narrative of pregnancy has to be so hard and
Yeah.
long and drawn out. So when I see a mother, I'm always telling them how beautiful they are. You see the big belly. Oh my goodness, you carry so well, and like uplifting their spirits, because that's what baby needs to feel. Baby needs those good emotions, not those bad emotions of, oh girl, I know you'll be happy when you had that baby. When you gonna drop? Like, stop encouraging people
Yeah. And
like
that's
they're
what you get a lot.
hmm,
And you hit you hit them on the head, because like that is what you get though.
a
Like,
lot.
girl, I know your back hurt. Like, nah,
Yeah,
I'm
but
good.
it's because pregnancy has become a burden for it's because of Western medicine. People don't embrace what it is. Like when I was pregnant, like especially my last two pregnancies, it was the most powerful times of my life. Like the things that I could do, the connection that I had with myself, the earth, is amplified. You're creating. You're in creator mode. It's so amazing. And to have someone to downplay that with burdens of, ooh, girl, you 15? Who finna get the pen? Ooh, instead of, you're going to be an amazing mother, and giving her affirmations, you're giving her more stuff to stress about. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Instead of like, people are already insecure about their bodies, especially first time moms. I remember having a baby when I was 15 and getting home from the hospital 2 days later and trying to put on my pre-pregnancy clothes because I was so uneducated that I thought that the weight go away as soon as you had a baby. And I looked down at my stomach and I had these stretch marks and my body didn't look the way it did. And I felt away. For a long time, I used to want to put makeup on my belly, but that was because people told me that was ugly.
Hmm.
And I took on that narrative and I didn't even realize what my body had went through. And that was a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? That was my stripes, my tiger stripes, but I
Yeah.
wasn't embrace that because of the outside noise. So we need to start to gear and restore birth to its majesty, and knowing that when a woman, regardless of the circumstances, when she's in creator mode, let's uplift her. Let's pour into her instead of taking away and like, ooh, what is you doing? And being ugly towards her or negative towards her. Let's see how we can uplift and inspire her. So even if she looks like she carrying three babies, uplift the baby you carrying. Well, you need, make sure she good. Whatever you can say. I like your shirt. I like your eyebrows. Something. Make her feel good. Pour
Yeah.
into.
Could make a person day just by, oh
It could make
wow.
their entire pregnancy experience, whether you know it or not.
Yeah. And it's beautiful.
And it really could, that mindset alone of, I'm doing something great, rather than, oh my gosh, I'm doing something bad and this shouldn't be happening, can be changed just by your encouragement. So we
Yeah.
can be those change makers. Like, even though a lot of us, we were laughing about doula work, and I was like, yep, everybody ain't cut out for seeing them babies come out, but you can do your part by just inspiring a pregnant mother, by just maybe listening to her, by maybe giving her some advice that you wish you had. Now, make sure the advice is solicited. Don't be going around just telling people how they need to give birth. But if they ask you, or if y'all have an established rapport or relationship, you can, This is what happened during my birth, and I wish that I had this, and this is my experience, because a lot of new mothers simply do not know. They just don't know. And a lot of times they're afraid to ask questions because they don't want to seem like they're stupid or I should know.
Mhm.
And they don't want to be judged. And the fact of the matter is, most, if you got a question about it, I'm sure somebody else do. And there's some, like, when you don't ask the questions, you don't get the answers. And when you don't get the answers, then decisions are made for you. And that's when the traumatic experiences occur. So we need to have these conversations, and we need to support each other. The postpartum period, don't forget about these mamas. After they had a baby, look at me telling everybody to be a doula. I ain't saying be a doula, but be a doula.
Be a doula. And if you having a home birth, I mean, or pregnant, get you a doula. Cause like what you saying, like I was I was just like I didn't know none of this. I didn't know anything about this. And
And
if you have the means and the, like someone that you get to help support and educate you, do it. Do it. By all means, do it.
it prevents it just prevents so many things that could occur and that commonly occurs. But in the postpartum period, a lot of people feel alone. A lot of women go through this period where they feel low, and it's because you just delivered a baby, your hormones just shifted, you just delivered a placenta. There's a lot going on, and most mamas don't do what? Nourish themselves. After you have a baby, you don't have the capacity to get up and cook a nourishing meal. You don't have the capacity to get up and stand over a stove or maybe go grocery shopping and get the fresh fruits and veggies. And not everybody has a partner at home to do that. So guess what? Their nutrition, like, it goes out the window. They're deficient. They're more so focused on baby. Now, like pregnancy, baby's auto fed. You ain't got to worry about feeding a baby outside of you. You ain't got to worry about staying up all night. You ain't got to worry about changing no pampers, especially if you ain't got no other babies at home. But now when you give birth, it's now you, which is brand new, and a baby that's
Mm-hmm.
brand new. So your job, your workload doubles. They need you in the postpartum. These big old fancy baby showers, get these people a postpartum doula. That's a great baby shower gift. So she can
Yes.
take a nap, so that she can get a nourishing meal, so that she can get a shower. I remember having to put my baby in in the shower with me. We had to get a sling, a little waterproof sling.
Or you had a baby in the car seat on the floor while you in the shower or something like that.
Yep. You don't really ever get to replenish you, and you've just done this amazing feat. You
Mm-hmm.
just finished this huge marathon, and you don't even have a chance to replenish you. And that's why a lot of people work from a deficit and they feel low. Like even emotional support, you can be surrounded by a lot of different people who waiting on you hand and foot. But if they don't understand or can hold space for you from what you just went through in your journey, you got emotional support that you need. A doula.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying like this person got to go through. I would prefer you to get a certified doula, but somebody who can really hold space for you. And that's why we need to get back into like the tribal mentality of having somebody there to stir the pot when we can't, cook the meals when we can't, watch the other kids while we rest. So we really, truly, truly need community, and we need each other, especially in the postpartum period. And I just looking at the numbers from Colorado, all of these women committing suicide before their baby's a year old. Now you have a baby that should be like a very exciting, bright, beautiful time. But if you don't have what you need to properly heal, it's not. And to hear how these women lives are cut short, these babies are having to be raised without their mothers because these women were not provided the support they needed. Discharged home with a baby, no instructions on how to really take care of this baby, and then you don't see another provider for 6 weeks. Your next time you're gonna see somebody is a 6 week checkup, baby, month and a
Yeah.
half.
What do they discharge you on? What kind of meds they give you? Lower tab and how y'all gonna have me on this and I gotta go home and be there for baby. But
How you
I'm
gonna
but I'm
breastfeed?
be drugged up.
How you
Like
gonna how your baby gonna breastfeed? Your baby gonna be so high and sleepy, they ain't gonna have the
exactly.
energy to
And
latch.
like I told you, I was stripped from that because I wanted to breastfeed. And they told me no, the blood pressure medication that's not going to happen. And I'm like, oh, everything that I wanted to do, I can't do it. Ain't that something?
And you just have to just take it and say, okay, all right.
Uh
And
huh.
that's where a lot of people, like, they have a birthing experience. They don't realize, like, they feel certain ways about birth or even sometimes birthing women. And they don't realize it's because they have unresolved issues with the way that they gave birth. and you
Mhm.
really need to say, hey, this is what it was. Talk to your womb. Apologize if you feel like you need to. You made the best decision that you made for yourself. So there's nothing to be sorry about. And I'm a person that feels like everything happens for a very divine reason, even if we don't understand it right now. But regain a relationship with your womb. Talk to her. And I'm gonna mention this, and we're gonna get ready to wrap it up because I've been going on and on about these burden stories. But
But I
I
love it. I love it here.
I loved it. Me too. I love it. I get so much feels. So I was like, instead of cutting it, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm coming back. But um, I was doing some research. I'm on this. I'm working on this another project. I always got my hand in something. And I was researching a system called the infradian system. You ever heard of it?
Mm-mm. I haven't heard.
Infradian. So a lot of people have heard of the circadian rhythm. No, it's not the infradian system. It's the infradian rhythm. My apologies. So the infradian system and the circadian system are like two. Circadian system basically is the system that regulates your sleep wake cycle. So we make certain hormones when we wake up. We make certain hormones throughout the certain times of the day, right? When we're asleep, we make certain hormones. When we're awake, we make certain hormones and they peak and they trough depending upon what time of day it is, depending on what we eat and depending on what we're going through. It's our biofeedback system, right? Sleep wake
Mhm.
cycle. And that is something that everybody has, a circadian rhythm. The infradian rhythm is something that only women of childbearing age have. So it starts when you start having a cycle and it ends when you go through menopause.
Oh.
Why is the infradian system important? The infradian system basically, we talked about being in flow when we first got on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The infradian system teaches you how to be in your flow. There's 4 stages of the cycle, of a woman's cycle. That's the infradian system. The monthly cycle, not just your period, but your entire monthly cycle, starting from the menstrual phase, where you actually bleed, the follicular phase, where your ovaries are talking to your hormones are talking to your ovaries saying, get a egg ready. We're gonna release an egg soon. Then you got the ovulation phase, which is basically when you actually release that egg from the ovaries. And then you got your luteal phase, which is when the egg is actually ready to be fertilized. Come on, I'm open and ready. And if the egg is not fertilized by sperm, then you have the menstrual cycle again. So
Okay, it's like I learned something new today.
yeah, I'm telling you, it's really, really, really interesting. And during those 4 phases where we have the infradian system, so when we have like the menstrual phase, it's associated, like we call it the moon cycle, it's associated with the moon, the new moon, which when the moon is dark. And during this time, we need to be resting. We need to be reflecting. We need to be releasing anything. That's what we need to be doing during our period. We get tired, we're bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
We need to just chill. But a lot of us get up and go to work. We get up and do stuff that we probably shouldn't be doing. And that's when we get out of rhythm.
Ah.
And if you are doing things, like sometimes you can't help it, you got to go to work if you're on your period. If you do that, you need to compensate. If you spent 8 hours on your feet doing things, moving, let's say for instance you're a waitress and you serving tables on your feet for 8 hours and you're on your period and you're bleeding heavy and oh my goodness, I've got cramps. It's your body telling you to chill, but you're not chilling because you got to pay your bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to compensate. When you get home, you do nothing. You rest or find a way to do nothing. You really have to, or find a way to restore yourself, even if you can't do nothing because you got kids or whatever. Find a way to restore yourself, and don't skimp on it. You have to turn that phone off. Go ahead and go to bed early. Go take that extra long shower. Go take that extra long bath, and employ resources to where you can actually do that. During the follicular phase, that's when I stated those hormones are being released. That's telling the ovaries, okay, let's go ahead and release this egg. Let's get this egg ready. Let's get it ready. So it's just getting the egg ready. we should be, it's associated with the waxing moon, meaning that the moon is actually growing. It's actually going from being dark to actually being visible. So it's with the waxing moon. The waxing moon is maximizing its potential. During this phase, we need to be preparing and initiating any new goals that we have. Okay?
Wow.
Somebody calling me. But they tripping. Don't do that. Don't do that. So during the follicular phase, we're preparing. So we need to go ahead and start initiating goals. If you're a person who likes to journal, do vision boards, go ahead and get that vision board going. Go ahead and write your goals out for the month. During that time, it's the perfect time. So you're waiting to you're waiting, you're letting the ovaries know we're getting prepared for the mature egg to come down. And then the ovulation phase, which is actually when the egg is released from the ovaries, it goes down the tubes into the uterus to be actually fertilized, right? And during that time, that's associated with the full moon. You full. You have a whole egg inside of you that is ready to just be fertilized. So it's associated with the full moon. So during that time, your energy is high. Usually when you're ovulating, your energy is really high. So it's a real good time to collaborate, to communicate, to, talk with others, to expand, right? So that's a really good time to be out and present and vibrant because
I
you're full.
mean, the
You're,
body is amazing.
isn't it though?
It
Isn't it?
is. And like I'm learning so much new stuff.
And then the fourth phase is the luteal phase. Well, it can be the fourth or the first, depending on how I phase the menstrual cycle as one, but the luteal phase is the phase that women are in when they're actually pregnant. So it's when the body is like really high in estrogen and you're feeling really, really feminine. So when women are pregnant, they get that glow, they get really, really pretty,
Mm-hmm.
their nails grow, their hair grows, and that's because they're in a prolonged period of the luteal phase. They're full of those pregnancy hormones, right? Progesterone. And so they feel really creative. So you feel a lot of emotions during that time because again you're full of hormones. How many women are pregnant and full of hormones? Somebody made a Facebook post the other day and was like, what was the craziest thing that you cried about when you were pregnant? My husband brought me the Barone brand gummy bears and I cried like this man that did, like it was the end of the world. I cried. Somebody else said they cried because they wanted pineapple tidbits instead of chunk pineapple, and their husband brought some tidbits instead of chunk. And it's because you're full of emotions.
Yeah, because you during your pregnancies, you be emotional. And
Oh
I
yeah.
know when mama said, if I say boo, you gonna start crying. I remember mama used to always say that.
I'm emotional anyway. So imagine when when I'm pregnant. Poor Anthony, bless his heart. Oh my goodness, bless him. Like I was a little tyrant. I bossed people around, and then I was very emotional. So I would go like I would titter tatter from this super sweet, loving, kind, nurturing to this. You gonna do what the fuck I said you gonna do to everybody, and they were just like, "What the hell? Ain't no medium." And they learned to. I'm so thankful for them because they learned to work with that. But when Sweet Fruit came, she exhibits that same behavior. Sweet, 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 and then if you're gonna do what the fuck I tell you to do, it's always like.
So you really have to create balance within pregnancy too, right?
You gotta create balance always. Always. So yeah, during that luteal phase, like that's associated with the waning moon. That means that the moon was full. Now it's kind of going back into that dark phase. But you want to take your time to really hone in on self-care because you are emotional and you don't want to be like throwing out all these emotions at people and spitting out all of this stuff at folk and starting fights and creating drama because we can do that when our emotions are at the forefront and we're not operating necessarily from the heart space. So we maintain and balance by taking necessary risks and evaluating our emotions. What are we feeling here, right? So a lot of times when you're in your luteal phase, you feel great, but you are faced with a lot of shadows because you're going back into that darkness, right? The moon is going back dark. So you see a lot of your shadows. So this time of the month, if you're not pregnant, you want to focus on your triggers. What the fuck is triggering me right now? Because that is where you need the work. So it's showing your shadows. It's showing what you need to deal with. And that's a whole system that teaches you how to operate. So during your luteal phase, you don't want to go out and have a whole party or plan this huge event, because that's the time you need to be resting. You're very emotional. You're probably on edge already. You don't want to be collaborating with a whole lot of people planning all of this. And if you have to, you got to incorporate self-care. The person who I was listening to instruct this whole thing and talk about it was very interesting. It was a podcast. She said that she was traveling to do that podcast during her luteal phase. And she was like, I can't, like, this was scheduled and set up outside of me. So I have to do what I got to do to restore myself. So when I get home, I'm going to get a full body massage. I am going to do a sound bowl therapy session where she's having sound healing. She's going to pour extra into her cup because, again, balance. You don't take
Mm.
away and end up empty and then go back and try and resume life as it was supposed to be. No, you got to refill that cup. It's just like gas.
Yes. And I
Yes.
didn't even think of it that way.
And this is only a system. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, talking about emotions and like activities. There's diet. Like if you fast every day and you're a woman with the infradian system, meaning that you're a menstruating woman, that might not work for you. So I see a lot of people who are fasting, taking their herbs, getting exercise, and they're not losing weight. It's because they're operating outside of their infradian system. Most of the nutritional advice that we receive, the advice that we receive about medications, these studies are not performed on women who are menstruating. So they don't, these studies are done on people who don't even have an infradian system. So what works for the majority probably is not going to work for you.
Because it goes deeper than that.
It's your own system, and that's how we operate in flow. Nothing stays the same as a woman in childbirth, a childbearing ages. It doesn't stay the same, and so you have to change. And how we change and what our roadmap is our menstrual cycle, our not just the period, but the entire 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. And you operate in that phase, like the way that you eat. I'm going to do an entire workshop on this, thankfully. But the way that you eat, yeah, I'm doing a workshop on this because it was mind blowing for me. And
It's not blowing me.
like literally tracking your cycle can change the trajectory of your entire life with your success, your love life. Certain times of the month, you don't want to have sex in certain positions. Certain times of the month, certain positions don't feel good. That affects your sex life. And you would know that if you're tracking your cycle and you know what works for you during that month, or what is typical during those, what to expect during those phases of your cycle, so that you can actually plan out your life accordingly. Not necessarily say plan, but you can schedule things when you're in flow. And that way you're not like, oh Lord, I gotta go on and do this. You're like, this is the best time for me to do it, and you feel good about doing it. That's creating more pleasure in your life. That's really living in flow state, when you're actually doing things that are in alignment with your internal and external. Right? But I thought I would mention the infradian system because it's mind blowing, and most women,
And I'm just in here, wow.
right? And most women don't even know about the infradian system.
I didn't.
So I'm gonna be doing a workshop on it. I actually already have it complete and everything. I'm actually gonna be doing a couple workshops on it. So I want people to like look into that, look at the infradian system, check it out, track the cycle. If you haven't already, now I do have a womb wellness workshop that teaches you about the menstrual cycle. I think that's worth checking out if you want to know like what the parts of the body is when it comes to the female anatomy. What is my ovaries? Where are they located? What's the function of the ovaries? What are my fallopian tubes? What do they do? What does my uterus actually do? I had somebody say the uterus and the placenta and the womb was the same thing. I'm like, no, not quite. It's not. But it's not to make fun. It's because for a long time I didn't know that either. Even as a healthcare professional, there were things that I didn't know about the female anatomy because it's just not taught. And so don't be ashamed for stuff that you've never been taught. Like, how are you expected to know this? But now that we're giving these tools and these resources, get to know yourself. Because a lot of things that they say are wrong, maybe necessarily aren't. A lot of the things that they say are emergencies or require surgery or require hysterectomy, maybe it just involves you being back involved with you and tapping back into you. Because PMS, meaning like the cramps, the bloating, the heavy bleeding, He's a result of trauma and suppressed emotions, but it's also a result of not enough progesterone.
So by me, like getting my like tube side, like I'm my little system kind of throwed off, ain't it?
It can be an imbalance. Having your tube size can cause an imbalance, but that doesn't mean that you can't tap into that and fix that. The most powerful source you have is talking to your womb and asking her what she needs. The womb is an entire separate entity outside of you, inside of you, actually. It's a portal. It literally births a baby and brings a baby from not ever being on the human side to being on the human side. So it takes a baby from spiritual to earth side. That's literally a portal. You're going from one realm to another. So I'm not. That's not even me being on my on that who Star Trek shit like y'all say I be home. But it's literally a portal. They're going from one realm to another, as if someone was dying from this earth going somewhere else. Hell,
Yeah.
heaven, whatever you believe in, you're bringing a baby from another realm, which is the womb space,
Mm-hmm.
to the earthly realm. So it's literally a portal, and it is very powerful. It houses memory, it houses trauma, it houses all types of emotions, and if they're not removed, then they stay there. So we need to know what we're working with and how amazing our bodies are. The womb space is your gateway, it's your guide. If you don't have a relationship with your womb, and you find yourself in broken relationships, with your parents, with your lovers, with your siblings, with everybody, your job, your career, you don't know who the fuck you are. It's probably because you don't have a good relationship with your womb space.
Wow.
And she will literally guide you. She'll talk to you. I remember doing an exercise after reading the book Womb Wisdom, where I actually asked her her name, and I saw a lot of and heard a lot of different things from this place where I didn't know it was coming from, and it was from within me. It was my womb. She gave me her name. She revealed sweet fruit, and I was like, "What? What? Who?" Like I saw sweet fruit as she was manifesting herself in my womb. And I'm like, what is, I didn't know what it was at the time, but now reflecting on that, it was amazing. All of these things were being shown to me. And I remember asking my womb, what is it that you need? And that is when I started really heavily diving into red raspberry leaf, because I was led to it. How was I led to it? I heard it on a podcast. And I was like, what is that? And then I got on Facebook and somebody else was talking about it. And then somebody else started talking about it. And then I was listening to another sister and she started talking about red raspberry leaf, and it piqued my interest. And that's why you have to be present in your daily, because if my mind's somewhere else, then I'm going to miss those.
Uh-huh.
So if you're constantly seeing something over again, your womb talks to you in a lot of different ways, in dreams, in meditation, in everyday life. Numbers will show up, signs will show up, but your womb is your internal guide. It's a very, very powerful piece of equipment, to say the least. And you can manifest anything you desire with the open womb space. An open and healed womb space is actually circulating and generating good positive energy, rather than dealing with that old shit that maybe you've dealt with years and years ago or lifetimes ago. Because we talked about this, Keita, how our mothers carry us. When a woman
Mm-hmm.
is born, when a female is born or she's in utero, she has all the eggs in her ovaries that she'll ever have. They're already there. They're not made as she matures. They're already there. When a baby is in the belly, she has all of her eggs. So that means when my grandmother was pregnant with my mother, she had all of us in there. So maybe we have traumas that grandmama had. Maybe we had traumas that mama had.
Yes.
And if you don't deal with it, if you want to just ignore it and pretend like life is all hunky dory, that's fine. But you'll never really get past skimming the surface of what it feels like to truly be whole. Now, I ain't going to say the shit easy, but it's worth it to be able to look at myself and know who I am, what I came to do, to be excited about life when I get up every day. My womb helped to lead me there. But I had to establish that relationship with it. Even if it's waking up, putting my hands down there, whew, I connect with my womb space, I connect with my heart space, I connect with my head space. We're in alignment. Guide me, love me, whatever it is that you need me, show me, talk to us, a conversation. And you deepen that conversation. That womb is where that intuition comes. Like when you hear that little voice that's telling you something, it's coming from that womb space.
Wow.
It's guiding you, but it sounds like a whisper for most people. Some people, they just completely ignore it because there's no relationship. But the more you become more in tune With your womb space, that relationship turns into a second nature or a first nature. So when you hear that voice, you automatically know that's intuition. Let me listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I become familiar with what their voice sounds like a baby becoming familiar with their mother's voice. What is that I'm hearing? Is that the voice of doubt, of ego, or is that my intuition? You don't know if you don't ever spend time with it. But if you spend time with it, you know which is which. But
Wow.
anyway, we're at an hour and 30 minutes.
You just gave me some chills. And you struck
Hopefully,
every wow.
hopefully good one.
Yes. Yes.
He said yes. Yeah, why yes. Check out the womb wellness class if y'all haven't already. I'm gonna try to go ahead and put the link. Let me see. I got the link right here, y'all. And check it out. Check it out if you haven't already. It's free and it teaches you a lot about the female anatomy. And honestly, I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna be coming hard with the infradian system because I feel like a lot of people need to know, and a lot of people
Yes.
who aren't getting the answers that they need on their wellness journey. Like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but are you doing it on your time? Are you doing it on your rhythm? Uh-oh. Here we go. I'm gonna get this link in this chat box for y'all. I don't know what's going on with the chat. If y'all talking to me, I can't see it for some reason. StreamYard is doing something, or maybe y'all just quiet today. But there we go. Bam, 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 bam. If you want to check out the Womb Wellness course, it is completely free. It comes with a digital download Womb Wellness workbook that actually helps you track your cycle. So yeah, any closing remarks, kid? I've been just going on and on. I wasn't planning on teaching the
No,
whole room.
I'm feeling cause it's like that that's amazing. Like I didn't know. I didn't know none of this. Like and I'm still amazed to just still thinking about it.
Man, I'm telling you, it's worth pondering over because it's like, why nobody ever told me about this? And when
Why,
I
no,
was I was saying it to myself.
why I just learning this up today? Like, but I
We
get
have
things that I have, wow.
we have our own unique biological flow that tells us it's literally a blueprint that tells us what we need to be doing and how we need to do it. And maybe you have a job that's preventing you from doing it. Maybe it's probably time to find a new job. You're gonna choose you.
Mm-hmm.
Or a job that's more accommodating, to your rhythm. Maybe choose lifestyle habits like during your luteal phase when you need to be providing self-care, doing some extra self-care measures and not leaving self-care just for those times when you ran down in the ground. Oh,
I,
you
I,
pull.
I give thanks for you doing what you do.
Oh, you sweet. Thank you.
I do because like I'm still saying wow. I did not know that.
I didn't either, Keita. And I'm glad that, we can get together and learn these. Well, we knew, we just had to remember. But I'm glad for the reminders and I'm grateful for the reminders. So I was like, let me dig my heels into this because there's so many people that could benefit from this because so many people don't even know they just want the cycle to go away. Oh, Lord, this heavy period. I just want
Uh-huh.
to, Lord, it's this time of the month, but you don't realize how powerful you are during your menses. You don't realize that it is not a curse. It is actually a biomarker of how am I treating my infradian system. So if you're having a not so pleasant period, it means that the infradian system is imbalanced. Not a horrible
I
thing.
mean,
It's
not to
just
get into that, but that's kind of what you was told, like almost as if your cycle was a curse.
absolutely because
Yeah.
it further separates you from your healing because you
Mm-hmm.
want to just get away. Like some people take medications. Let me just say this by the way: birth control pills, shots, IUDs, they shut the infradian system, the infradian rhythm down. They disable it. So if you think about like somebody detonate a bomb, they got a bomb and they shut that junk down, shutting the system down, it shuts it down. So it literally shuts down the communication of you with you because
So
usually
that's why
birth
you don't have those cycles, right? Those menstruals during the time. Wow.
cycle is shut down. It makes sense. It shut down. It literally disables it, or it puts it into it puts a bug into your infradian rhythm.
Okay, I have one question before
Yes.
we end this. Okay, I have a question about now that we're talking about the menstrual. So, what is that like when you're having a menstrual and it's regular, but now that I have got those clamps put on, it's like it's regularly normal now. What was the cause of that? You think?
I feel like with anything that you're regulating, you're putting balance into your life. Like even if the clamps are there, even people who've had hysterectomies and don't have a uterus anymore,
Mm-hmm.
that's it's more than just a physical organ. The energy and the spirit of that thing still exists. So you talking to your womb, you balancing your womb, you drinking your herbs, you yoni steaming, whatever it is, whatever you do, making self affirming choices, meaning that I choose me. I'm ridding myself of this habit or that person. It could have been a lot of that, or even just healing from trauma that you've gone through, like with your childhood, birth, whatever it is. Healing those traumas could lessen your period because all it is at the end of the day is suppressed emotions. With suppressed emotions, your those hormones can't flow like they need to. You're creating more male hormones than female hormones when you're suppressing your emotions.
Now you begin that little fuzz and
Fuzz and yeah, pistachio.
pistachio.
You get you, and that's because you're creating more. You're operating in more of a masculine energy, and that's necessarily saying man, but you're operating a masculine energy, control, anger, suppression. You're trying to control your emotions instead of letting them flow, and so
Oh,
you end up, yeah, you want to operate in feminine hormones, creativity, flow, pleasure. So indulging in those types of things, creating those types of lifestyles, that will lead to womb healing. It doesn't take somebody going in and operating on your uterus
and
for you
see,
to heal.
and that's what I was. That's what I was told. That's what I was ran her thinking like they like oh, so your menstrual should be going. And I'm thinking like just because y'all put the clamps on it, but I'm a woman, and when I'm born, like I supposed to naturally flow anyway. So like just by you doing this, it's not gonna cause my stuff to flow regularly. So what you're saying, it have answered a lot of questions. Too. It
I
answered
give,
a lot of questions.
I give thanks, and they put
I
a
get
lot of.
thank you.
I'm so thankful. They put. I'm like this. It's a lot. It's a lot of navigating this world. And if we have tools and gems and breadcrumbs along the way to help us get back to us and stay balanced within us, I'm all for it. I'm so grateful for this space. Grateful to be able to just chat these things out. It's my first time actually like publicly talking about the infradian system, and I realized how much I enjoy it. But I wanted to touch bases on that because I do feel like it's important.
Yeah.
Um, and meeting with y'all, like again, thank you, Keita, for like taking the time out in the midst of life. Life happens. Oh, life has definitely been happening over here, like seriously growth spurts within me. I have been doing a whole lot of internal healing, bonding with my children. Like I said, really focusing on home because that's where the love is real. Social media, half that shit is fake. Um, but when I just I'm learning to really just focus and hone in on what really nurtures me, and that's really put me in a state of reflection and learning like so many lessons and reflecting on how much I've learned and grown. So sometimes like I don't dealing with me and spending time with me, I just don't have the capacity to. I have to fill my cup.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful for that ability. And then I had a birthday and all of that good stuff. So it's been pretty busy and life has definitely been happening over here. I give thanks for it all. So I thank you for taking the time out to even, do this and, hop on here and share your story and be transparent because it really is helpful. Not just to me, but for people who are listening. Like I said, um, Facebook, we go live on Facebook, but YouTube is where like a lot of people really view this show and get a lot of mental food from it. So I'm grateful, so grateful for everybody that tunes in, everybody that rocks with us, and me and my traveling mind. I
I'm
get
working like I don't see it as something like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do no, because like you said, life been lifing. And and actually this right here, it gives me peace. It gives me peace. It actually it helped me go about my day. Like I love doing the podcast. Like no matter what's going on around me, like that's completely shit out when it's time to do the podcast. It like I don't care because it's my happy place. It makes me feel so good afterwards and during it. It's like I don't care what's going on. This shit
yeah,
out.
I love it, and that's the same way I feel after I finish this podcast. Depending upon what um the littles are doing, Mina probably is woke, but I tend to go out, and I have this little space, and it's where I can really hear myself. My phone doesn't work out there, and I love that. So I leave my phone and I go to my little space and I hear nothing but nature. And so I'm able to sit with myself and hear nothing but me, but
Mhm.
nature. And that's when I'm able to ground myself and center myself. And I think that's what I'm going to do. If they ain't up, if they up, we're going to the beach. But if they're up, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I give them their proper attention, because this is usually my time that I walk and pour into myself. But I can't think of a way of it being better spent than collaborating and connecting as a collective. Um, I don't know what is this popping up here. Somebody is messaging, but it's like not in English. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's not even in like a foreign language. It's just like a lot of characters and stuff. I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, hi to you, whoever that is. What I give thanks for y'all. Happy Sunday. We'll be back
This
in this
still is
day.
so and it's so beautiful. Like the sun is, I'm gonna get some sun
The sun
today.
out. The sun just came out here. It was
Like
supposed to be
sun
storming
is
yesterday.
shining, and I think it's supposed to get like here. It's gonna get up to 76 today.
Oh wow! I don't even know. Like, what's the temperature here?
I
Let's
said
see.
it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna get out.
I'm gonna check and see what our temperature is. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta get groceries. Oh, we're 76 today.
Same
We're
as us.
we're 76 today, and I see the wind. The wind here is something serious. But it was supposed to storm yesterday and today, and the sun has been shining so bright. It
Man,
was very
ever since the storm happened here, we've been getting none but sunshine. Sunshine and birds chirping. Like,
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like the sun, the calm after the storm, the sunshine.
uh-huh. And that was,
Oh,
and me and Kyla was just talking about Kyla when who brought it up to me yesterday. She said, oh, it's just the sun. Then I just I've been hearing just birds singing outside my window. I'm like, Kyla, this is beautiful, but it is. It's beautiful.
I see everybody like on Facebook from Memphis talk about how beautiful the weather is. Everybody was getting out, going to festivals. I like it's that time of year. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love to see it. I love to see it. So
Yeah.
enjoy this beautiful sunshiny Sunday. Pour into you, fill your cup. We shall be back with episode 2. We had a guest lined up, but again, I definitely needed to take a pause and a breather after a very eventful start of the year. I completed some big projects, what I consider big projects, and so I really needed to pour back into me. But I thank y'all for continuing to rock with us and granting me the grace of taking time for myself. I want to be an example of the things that I talk about. I don't want to just talk about it. I'm about it every day, right? So,
Yeah.
anywho, have an amazing day, Soul Tribe. We've been on this thing almost 2 hours.
It don't even seem like it. It never do. It never do. It never
Yeah,
do.
it goes by so fast, and it's like the most effortless 2 hours of doing anything, right? And
Yeah.
again, important to me because I'm even telling our stories and storytelling and sharing. That's healing because we're getting those things that are within out. We're talking about them, and we're allowing other people to see if they choose that it's okay, right? It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be open. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. So, with that being said, peace and be well. Kitty, you got anything in closing? I think I already asked you this, but
I don't know.
you had
I just like I always say, I give thanks for even having this space where You can be you. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about being judged or none of that. You can just be you. And I give
Yeah.
thanks for that. And I give thanks to you for even giving me this opportunity because, as you know, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone with this. I'm just known as Quiet Kita, but there's no more. I love it, and I just give thanks. I give thanks.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
give thanks to a little reminder before we hop out of here. Tapi Island Retreat, we got 3 spaces left. Just
Mhm.
tree. So if y'all planning to come, now the book with your bestie special ended on the 30th, but you still can get in with some really good deals. But we only have 3 spaces left. Wanted to make mention of that. And I also wanted to make mention of we have our doula course. We talked about doula work. If you're looking to become a doula, our program is online, self-paced, pay as you go. So you only pay for the time that you are enrolled. It's no like flat fee. Well, this course is $800. No, it's $111 per month. So it's all about how you learn, how fast you go, how slow you go. We are fully certified. When you come out, you're fully certified. You're able to bill Medicare. You're able to, see clients. You're equipped with what you need. You're able to start your doula business. And check out our reviews. Don't take my word for it, but a lot of people have truly benefited. A lot of families have benefited from this course. A lot of sisters have benefited in starting their doula businesses from this course. So if you are interested, please check it out. We will be getting back live in person. I'm not even gonna call the date out. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it because every time I call it out, it's like, okay, we got to push back a little bit more. We got to do this. We got to rearrange. But we're gonna have the in-person doula trainings coming up soon, shortly after the retreat. We're getting back in person because we have our brick and mortar down here in Padre Island that is coming together effortlessly. Um, yeah, that's what we got going on. We'll be
And
back.
you're amazing. I just want to tell you that you're amazing. And
You are.
keep flying. Keep soaring, baby, because you're amazing.
I
And I
give
do
thanks.
want to get a shout out to Cosmic Sense.
Oh, let's talk about Cosby before we get out of here.
Baby, Cosmic Sense.
Yes. Cosmic Sense Candle Company, y'all. That's Kira. Kira is usually on here. Let me see if I can get her link up here for y'all. Um, she does candles, she does wax melts, she does the best of the best when it comes to sense. Kita gonna get your review.
Baby, Cosmic Sense. Kira. I've been calling Kira. I need another camera. I need another camera. Like it's her candle smells so good. And it's like when they burn it, it just puts you in a sense of peace. And
Mm.
half the time when they burn it, it just reminds me of nature or something. You know, like I love Cosmic Sense. And just this rising Kyla was talking about like, oh, I just love the candles. I love because when just looking at them, I just feel so good and I love it. But this one particular kind of funk, no, baby, baby. I'm talking about how the whole house just smelling so good,
Funk
so
no.
good. Funk
Funk
no,
funk no.
funk no,
Oh man.
and
Oh man.
it do
Got
exactly what it says. Funk no, you ain't gotta worry about that.
no
And
funk.
I got a dog, so it could tend to get smelly.
Get
But I don't have to worry about that with them Cosmic Scent counters. I don't have to worry about that.
I love
And it's like,
her.
don't take my word, y'all. Purchase y'all Cosmic Scent candle, and you gonna see.
Check out the link.
Check out
Got
the
the link
link.
here.
Yes.
Cosmic Sense Candle Company. That's my daughter Kira. She has been building this brand for over 2 years now. Over 2 years. She recently did a relaunch, if you're new here, and her brand is Cosmic Sense Candle Company. And from what I hear, because I have not gotten my candles yet, because I ain't paid for them, y'all. Everybody who paid for their candles, they got their stuff. She's gifting me candles, so I don't mind the wait. Okay, I'm excited to smell these new scents. I have been hearing so much phenomenal stuff about it. Mama said she's gonna go over to the girl's house and make her make a big candle of the
So,
company because she said that she was gonna do what she gonna do, and Kira gonna make it happen. But I say all that to say these just got to be bad. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they've gotten a
yeah.
couple purchased them and they had nothing but good reviews on them. And it's because Kira really takes a lot of TLC when it comes to making these candles. She does a lot of work and making sure her energy is right and getting in the mood. And she loves what she does. And it comes off in the candles. And I tell Kira all the time, they buy from you, baby. It's not they can buy candles from anywhere, but it's that energy that you infuse them with. And yeah, I'm excited to get my candles.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And then like just like what I just said, like when you burn them, it just gives you a sense of peace, or like you're in nature or something. Like her kind, they're amazing, y'all. They're amazing.
Man, I remember the one she made in Colorado, and I remember how they made me feel. So this girl that went and revamped, then regrouped. So I can only imagine
Hmm.
those are the
Hmm.
bomb diggity. So
And
I'm
then
excited.
she got the double wigs too.
Oh, that's right. She did mention the
She got the
double.
single and the double wigs. Hmm.
Okay, Kira. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a call when I get off of here because I need some candles
And
ASAP.
they have a long burning period. Like I remember lighting mine like round about this time and like actually not blowing it out until the next day, and it was still burning.
Oh
Like
wow,
they have a long burning period, and then I was still able to relight. So yeah, it's like
that is true.
they the truth. They the
That
truth.
is true. Shout out to
They the
Cosmic
truth.
Sense. I love it. I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. Get my candles, Kira. I heard some good stuff about the candles. Where my punk know it. I don't even know what she's saying, but I'm grateful for whatever she does. But I'm going to order me some. So I can
Mhm.
get my candles now because I'm excited about this hymn, especially this one. No, I'm a candle girl. I love, 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 love candles. It's something we keep candles like toilet paper in this joint. So I'm excited to get Kira's new candles. Oh my gosh. She's usually here on the podcast with us. She'll pop in sometimes and give her spiel. But in today she hasn't, given birth to any baby. So well, a whole lot of things she could input on this topic. But hopefully we'll have her back on next cycle and she can tell us more about her new scents. And actually she got a sale.
But y'all hurry up and get them because Kira be selling out fast.
She got a sale. She's getting rid of the winter scents and bringing in the spring scents. So she's doing a clearance for the winter.
Really?
I just remembered that. Shout out to Cosmic Scents and them candles, baby. Go get your candle, boo. Oh, all
Please
right.
do.
I'm gonna put this link up here one more time for the course so that y'all can get this link. It is in the chat. You can check this out on YouTube, on Facebook. Look in the chat. Y'all can get these links. Go order your candles. Go download that one wellness course. Use your candles as a part of self care. At one stop shop, baby.
Yeah.
No, I love it. We are at our time. I could stay on here with y'all all day if I could. But being cognizant of your time and our time and that we have other obligations, we're going to go ahead and continue with our day. So be good to yourself so that we can be good to each other. Peace and abundance, Soul Tribe. I love you guys to life.
Next
Until
Sunday.
peace. Mwah, 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 mwah. I love you.